Okay, for the dough, we're going to use 110 degree water. So our yeast will bloom. You're going to put that in with your sugar. That's not sugar. There we go. And your yeast. So you put your water, sugar, and yeast in the bowl. Give it a quick little whisk to kind of help dissolve that sugar in the water there. And that's going to sit there for about 5 minutes. The fats can go right in with the water and stuff. That's not going to mess up your yeast blooming. So I'm going to put my corn oil in and my melted butter. And then after that sits for about 5 minutes, it'll get nice and foamy. I'll show you a picture of that. And then we'll add our dry ingredients, salt, and our flour. We'll mix it up, and then I'll portion it out and put it in pans. Alright, so you can see our yeast had a chance to bloom. I'm going to go ahead and add my flour. This is going to look kind of massive because I'm doing a double batch. Here's my flour, my salt. Throw my dough hook in there. This way you can see how quickly this comes together. It's a super simple dough. That's it. That's literally done. It's about as quick a dough to make as could be. There you go. It's a nice sticky dough. It's not too wet. If you don't measure your water and your dry ingredients well, it might be a little stickier and you might have to add a little flour, but that's perfect. It's kind of almost a little pasty, and you can see it tears apart. It doesn't stretch like it'll stretch a little bit more later, but it doesn't stretch kind of like your Neapolitan or Sicilian type pizza doughs. It's more of a crumbly crust when it's done. So there you go. I'll portion that out. Now this recipe makes 4 pizzas. I did a double batch here, so I'm going to cut this up into 6.5 ounce pieces. 6.1. So I'll go 6.5 ounces on these. And I put about 2 teaspoons of oil in the pan. What I do is I just flatten that out a little bit. I kind of move it around the pan, make sure I get a little bit up on the edge. On these Bay State pans, it's really almost not even necessary. I'll push it out a little bit here, right? That's good. It's wanting to stretch back, and that's fine. It's going to do that until those gluten chains unravel. So I'll do them like that for a little bit. I'll put them, out at room temperature for, I don't know, a couple hours. And then I'll come back and I'll pound them out again, and they'll push right out to the edge of the pan. They'll be puffed up about double this size. Typically I like to let the dough rise to double its size before I even portion it out. Like I said, this is kind of on the fly, and that it shouldn't be difficult, and if it's pulling away from the edge of the pan, walk away from it for 10-15 minutes, and then when you come back it should have risen a little bit if you've got it 70 degrees or above. So for the sauce, I put my tomatoes in. I'm using whole San Marzano tomatoes. Put my oregano in, salt and pepper, paprika, and tomato paste. And I've found that I like a paste and oregano heavy sauce. So that's my preference, and it seems to resemble what the restaurants I like do. So I've been happy with it. So there you go. And we don't want to aerate this stuff. We just want to go real fast at it here, just to chop it up and integrate it. And that's it. Your sauce is done. It's super, super simple. Now I like to keep little pickle jars around. I'll put my sauce in a pickle jar, and I will keep it in the fridge for a week or two without any issues, and I usually have a little bit of overlap. This will make somewhere in the vicinity of 10 pizzas, I want to say, out of one jar, out of one batch of sauce. It might be a little more than that. So you use about 1/3 of a cup per pizza. So tried straight sharp cheddar. We tried several different brands. We tried one that was half mozzarella, and we came to the conclusion that a 2-to-1 ratio on cheddar to mozzarella was unanimously the favorite. So that's what we've been doing. So I've let these rise for a couple hours. I like to use the proofing function in my oven. It speeds things up a little bit. And I neglected to mention that once I push the dough out the first time, I like to flip it over. And what that does is it gets a light coating of oil on the top surface. Otherwise you end up with a crust that kind of looks like cornflakes. And it turns a little bit sour and it's kind of unpleasant. So when I pan the dough out, I just push it out to the edges of the pan, and you'll see it's moving a lot easier now that it's had a little time to rise. Places like the Linwood like to pinch the crust up the edge a little bit. I don't do that because I like the sauce to be able to spill over the edge a little bit more, and that kind of builds like a little bit of a dam to keep that from happening. So I'll pan them out again like that, and I'll do another one to show you. I keep the pressure on the outside edge of my hand and my fingers, and I just kind of keep pushing out like this. And I keep my fingertips right up against the edge of the pan so I don't push that dam up along the edge. And half the places seem to do it with the lip like that, and half of them don't. Every place I work doesn't, and I like the burnt edges, so, or laced edges, however you want to say it. All right, so these have had their last rise. They're nice and airy. I'm just going to pound these down one last time and kind of deflate them into the pan and get them all the way to the edge. The dough tends to shrink back a little bit, but if you let them rise that last time in the pan, that's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to literally fall out of the pan when I'm ready. Places I work, like I said, we like to stake the pizzas down. It kind of helps keep the bubbles from coming up and keep you from having to open the oven repeatedly. On a home oven, they lose a lot of heat when you open the oven, so it's nice not to have to open it repeatedly. So there you go. That's how to pan them out, and I keep that edge nice and flat, just like that. Alright, so we're going to sauce them and cheese them. I like it's about 1/3 of a cup. I like a little bit more sauce. So I've got my favorite ladle here. Basically, you just want to move the sauce around the pizza and around the crust and get it right out to the edge. I use the edge of my ladle. Some people use a flat spoon. Whatever. Do whatever you want. This is definitely a personal expression thing. You do how you want. So saucing them, same thing. Go right out to the edge. The more you can kind of nudge that into the edge, the more of a burnt crust, a burnt edge or laced edge you're going to get, which is fantastic. So there you go. That's about a reasonable amount of sauce there. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and cheese them up. I like a medium amount of cheese. I don't like a ton, and I don't like them too light. Kind of bump them a little bit right to the edge there. That's pretty reasonable. That's about average right there. Do one more for you. It's a giant handful. You just push that all right up to the edge. There you go. Just like that. So I'm going to throw our pizzas in. They're going to go in for about 12 minutes. Because I staked the pizzas, the dough, it shouldn't have to worry too much about bubbles. They go in for 12 minutes on the stones. I'll take them out. They'll go back in for about 2 minutes. I'll pull them out of the pans and throw them directly on the stones for about 2 minutes. And we'll pull them out and hopefully they'll be perfect. All right. So I'm going to pull these out. I gave these 12 minutes because these are all my pizzas with a lot of toppings. They look pretty good. No bubbles. Lots of great oil on top, which is going to be delicious. And if any of them are a little pale on the bottom, we will stick them back in. Let's take a look, see what we got. Well, that looks pretty good right there. I'm gonna leave that one alone. So there you go, that's done. Yeah, I'm just gonna take these out, throw those in. 14 minutes with a lot of toppings, and 12 minutes seems to work on your basic cheese, pepperoni, stuff like that. So there you go. Alright, so now I'm gonna get crucified for this, but I was looking for a ham type product to make my kids a Hawaiian. So we got a pineapple hot dog.
Oh, no you did.
And we got a, let's see what else we got. We got a hot dog pickle. Because I figure you put relish on hot dogs, right? So there's a hot dog pickle. We're see if the boys like that. They like some weird stuff. One of them really likes pickles on pizza, so we got a couple normal ones here. The toppings, whack!